Hey guys, welcome back to Rod and Reel. I'm Mindy. Today we are going to be talking about the day that changed the world forever. September 11th, 2001. Nearly 3,000 people lost their lives and a nation went to war. I don't know about y'all, but I still remember exactly where I was. I think that most Americans do because it was such a profound and traumatic event that many of us had never experienced. Almost immediately, questions followed, and for more than 2 decades, people have still debated what really happened that day. And I've been thinking about it more and more lately because I've been researching and looking into the Charlie Kirk assassination. And with everything that has been exposed with that, it makes me think that there's definitely probably more at play with September 11th. So let's get into it and let me know your thoughts. And just to be clear, I'm not here to sensationalize tragedy. I just firmly believe that we should never stop asking questions and that we shouldn't be so quick to buy into narratives, especially when those narratives come from the government. So oftentimes with any major traumatic event, conspiracy theories form, especially when the government's involved, when there's mass murders, mass deaths, when there's unanswered questions, and when people are scared. And I think I can speak on behalf of every American that after 9/11, we all were scared. We were grieving as a nation, and we were desperate for understanding and just to have some insight into how in the world something this catastrophic could have happened. But much of the investigation took years, reports were delayed, a lot of the documents remained classified. Everyone was just trying to make sense of the unthinkable. And I've said this before, but conspiracies are formed when transparency disappears. And there was a huge lack of transparency when it came to 9/11. One of the most common claims is that the US government allowed the attacks to happen, or worse, orchestrated it themselves. Supporters of this theory point to several different things. First, intelligent warnings prior to September 11th. 2, the rapid passage of the Patriot Act. And 3, the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. They suggest that powerful people benefited from the attacks. And to be completely transparent with you guys, I never in a million years would have thought that these conspiracies could be true before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. I feel like for so many of us, we have woken up to the fact that we are being controlled by powerful elites and that there is a lot of corruption taking place. It's not left versus right, it's good versus evil. So now, with everything that has been exposed in regards to the Charlie Kirk assassination, I am finding myself going down this 9/11 rabbit hole, wondering, okay, what really happened here? Some believe that the Twin Towers, and especially Building 7, fell due to pre-planted explosives and not the airplanes. I think back to after September 11th, how much changed. It was like surveillance completely shifted basically overnight. Civil liberties were taken. And at the time, I was young. I really didn't care about the government. But I'm thinking about if this had happened when I was older, how I might have shifted my thought process. So y'all forgive me, I am about to admit my ignorance when it comes to everything surrounding September 11th, because until I started doing some digging and investigating, I didn't even realize that there was a Building 7 that also collapsed in addition to the Twin Towers. This was a 47-story steel framed office that collapsed later that day without a plane hitting it. No other modern steel framed high-rise has ever collapsed due to fire alone. Portions of the collapse occurred at near free fall acceleration. Now, I'm no architect, but this suggests sudden total structural failure. Fire causes gradual uneasy collapses, not rapid symmetrical ones. But the way Building 7 fell made a lot of people question whether or not it was actually a pre-planned demolition. And then digging even further into this, some first responders and witnesses even reported hearing explosions. These explosions within Building 7 tend to indicate something more than just fire. What's even stranger is that Building 7 was not investigated in detail until years later. Early reports barely even mentioned it, which is probably why I didn't even know that a Building 7 existed until recently. Many people, including me now, believe that the only reason that this was even investigated or that people started talking about it was because of pressure from people wanting to know the truth of what really happened that day. I'm sorry, but delayed investigation to me just screams reactive instead of proactive. Additionally, none of the steel was preserved for independent testing. It was quickly removed and recycled. Reminds me a lot of how the crime scene where Charlie Kirk was assassinated had cement being poured over it a few days later. This completely prevented independent forensic analysis. Listen, I'm not a detective, but I feel like I have watched enough 2020 where I at least feel somewhat knowledgeable to know that I think it's pretty freaking standard, right, to preserve physical evidence. I would love to know your thoughts. Did y'all even know that a Building 7 existed? And if so, what do y'all really think happened on September 11th, 2001?